This video will go over the competitor table, how to set up and install. The boards are 2 inches thick and they're all packed inside of the cabinet. You may need to remove the board for access to your room. If you do, unpack the board, carefully turn the table on the side, unscrew the board that's going to be screwed down just for shipping purposes to the cabinet, and then you can carefully remove the board and set it to the side. Now you can bring in the cabinet into your home and install and set up the cabinet. One thing to keep in mind on any shuffleboard table is access to your room. How are you going to get the board into the room? They can be quite difficult. Here you see my guys having to carry the board and snake it around through and around the corner. So make sure to check out how you can get the table into the room and how much room you have to bring the table in. Once you've removed the board and the cabinet is unpacked, the cabinet assembly is fairly straightforward. Pull the two halves together. There will be dowel pins to locate it and a tight joint connector. Turn the cabinet carefully on the side, on the carpet, or spread out a blanket if you're working on a wood floor. The bolts for the legs on the competitor bolt from the inside. We don't have any bolts exposed on the competitor. It keeps a nice, clean, neat look. The bolts are 2 bolts for each leg, and you'll have to bolt on the center leg if it's a 2-piece cabinet. On the 12 and 9 foot, you simply have 2 legs. Just bolt on the legs and turn the cabinet over and you're done. Here we're showing the guys bolting on the legs, and we're going to show you a little trick here on how to level the table. Generally, you want a table to have a little bit of a sag or sway in it, so you can take the leg levelers on the center legs and screw them in all the way. Take the 2 outside leg levelers and screw them down quite a bit. This will give you a little bit of a belly or a sway in the table. Now that the table frame is set up, locate it in the place where you want to place it in the room, and carefully turn the table over in the upright position. If it's a 2-piece cabinet, you'll have a brass cover that goes over the seam where the 2 halves meet together. You'll want to pre-drill the bottom of the brass cover because we use all hard maple on our cabinets and it can split and crack when you're putting in the screws. Plus the screws will be pretty hard to put into the hard maple if you don't pre-drill it. Once the plate is attached and the seam is finished, you can do some final leveling and adjusting to the frame before you're ready to bring in the board. This particular table, the board was easier to bring in through the basement window than to try to carry down the stairs. All of our boards, whether it's a 3-inch board or the competitor, the climate adjusters are pre-installed at the factory and the board is properly set at the factory for the concave or convex setting. So you really won't have to do too much adjusting there at first. Once you bring the board in on the competitor, we've got some pucks set down so we don't pinch our fingers. Place the board into place, measure it for location, remove the pucks, and place the board into the cradle. The board just sits by its own weight down into the cradle. Now you're ready for the leveling. As you can see, we have both ends of the table slightly high, so we have a little bit of a belly in the table. This will help it to where it's kind of going uphill as you go on each end. If you ordered the score beads, you'll want to pre-drill the location where you want to place them. Here we show them being placed on each end on the top molding. Once they're pre-drilled, screw the score beads into place. We do offer an electronic score unit for the competitor. If you order the type with the remote control, you will have to attach the push buttons underneath, but the wiring harness will already be wired up underneath the table. Also, you'll need to pre-drill the location on the side of the table where you mount the score unit because it does screw in with wood screws right into the hard maple. On a new table, the climatic adjusters for the concave and convex are preset at the factory. We recommend you let the table sit for a couple days before trying to do any adjustment, and we cover that in our maintenance video.